We live in an era where it is incredibly easy to lose our temper. Someone cuts you off in traffic or leaves a passive-aggressive comment on your social media feed, and the immediate instinct is to fire back. But consider the weight of a much heavier burden. Not a single digital comment, but the coordinated, vocal hostility of an entire country, delivered to your face every single day you show up to work. Now add one impossible condition. You are contractually and professionally forbidden from defending yourself. You cannot react. You cannot fight back. Jackie Robinson's defining victory in professional sports was won through an extreme, calculated display of psychological endurance. In 1947, the United States was governed by systemic segregation. Major League Baseball operated under a rigid, unwritten law. The sport was strictly for white players. The Brooklyn Dodgers organization decided to break that racial barrier, initiating a highly public social experiment on a national stage. They selected Jackie Robinson, a gifted athlete who had already excelled in multiple collegiate sports. But the Dodgers' general manager gave Robinson a near-impossible mandate. For his first few years in the league, he had to absorb every insult, every provocation, and every threat without throwing a single punch. Management knew the entire country would be scrutinizing his reactions. Robinson was chosen for his mechanics and his speed, but his true value lay in his mental architecture, a fortress capable of absorbing national hostility without cracking. The hostility was immediate and overwhelming. During games, thousands of spectators would hurl racial slurs at him from the stands. On the field, the danger was physical. Opposing players would intentionally aim their metal cleats at him while sliding into bases, trying to force a violent reaction that would justify his removal from the league. The abuse continued well past the stadium exit. While traveling with the team, he was frequently denied a bed at segregated hotels and turned away from restaurants where his teammates were eating. This isolation even penetrated his own clubhouse. In the beginning, several of his own Dodgers teammates circulated a petition refusing to take the field alongside him. Every aspect of his daily life operated as a highly calibrated pressure cooker. The system was explicitly designed to provoke him into anger, so the baseball establishment could use that anger to keep the sport segregated. To combat this mandate of silence, Robinson developed two distinct survival mechanisms. The first was an outward display of undeniable athletic dominance. This chart tracks his performance metrics alongside the timeline of his most abusive early years in the league. As the hostility peaked, so did his output. He won the Rookie of the Year award, an honor given to the single best first-year player in the sport, and later secured the Most Valuable Player award. Look at how the upward trend of his hitting and stealing statistics outpaced the friction of the segregationist policies. His excellence forced the league to acknowledge his value, dismantling the arguments of his critics. Because of this, his in-game mechanics carried enormous weight. Every time he stole a base, it was a literal, measurable step towards social equality. By weaponizing his talent, Robinson went on the offensive. He defeated his abusers on the scoreboard, bypassing the need to ever throw a punch. His second survival mechanism was entirely internal. Robinson relied heavily on his deep-rooted Christian faith to process the vitriol he faced. The cameras captured his stoicism on the diamond, but his evenings were a different reality. He would return home emotionally drained from the intense effort required to swallow the day's abuse. In the quiet of his home, he and his wife Rachel established a private sanctuary. Together they prayed, not for the abuse to stop, but for the fortitude to avoid letting bitterness take root in his mind. This spiritual foundation allowed him to intellectually reframe his suffering. Instead of viewing himself as a victim of personal attacks, he treated his endurance as a historical mission, paving the way for future generations. While his physical talent kept him on the field, his private spiritual conviction provided the psychological armor necessary to survive the public torment. Robinson's endurance triggered an immediate domino effect. Major League Baseball began to fully integrate, opening professional doors for hundreds of African-American athletes who had previously been shut out. That impact is permanently embedded in the sport. Today, every year on April 15th, every single player on every team wears the number 42 to honor his character. Robinson redefined courage as a form of tactical silence, the capacity to protect one's dignity while every external force demanded a reaction. Robinson demonstrated that institutional change can be achieved by allowing personal excellence to outlast public hostility. Most of us will never stand on a professional diamond, yet the pressure to lash out at an unfair colleague or a digital slight is a universal constant. Robinson's victory integrated the sport by forcing a segregated society to witness the failure of its own prejudice. He proved that a disciplined character creates a barrier that even systemic hatred struggles to penetrate.